When I think and talk about games, I admire that I get to be whoever I want to be. I've been an outlaw, a hero, a warrior, a shrunken down teenager. I've managed a post office, I've gotten to Utopia, I've seduced monsters. Immersion in games is incredibly important, and it is subtle. The player doesn't notice all the things contributing to their immersion, but rather experience the effect of everything combined. I found that Untitled Goose Game, for example, does a really good job at keeping you immersed in your role as a goose. House released Untitled Goose Game in 2019 on various platforms. In the game, you play as a goose that works their way through a village while bullying the people who live in it. At its very core, the game is divided in clear levels. You walk into the first area and get a to-do list. When you've completed enough tasks, a special task gets added. You need to complete this task in order to progress to the next level. Now, when I first played Untitled Goose Game, I finished the to-do list and then I got stuck. See, I expected the game to cut to a level select menu or to fade out to the next level. That didn't happen. So, I resorted to the best plan B I could think of. Run around and explore every open area I can to find the next level. This expedition was fruitless as well. I had to redo my save in order to understand how it worked. When you complete a special task, it will trigger an event. A door will open, something will fall over and act as a bridge. Something happens that allows you to move to the next area via a new path at the back of the level. And as you arrive at the next area, you get a new to-do list. However, during my exploration, I had noticed something that would only be confirmed over the course of the game. The organic level layout of Untitled Goose Game makes you feel more like a goose. There's always a moment in between levels or areas where you can explore and feel like a goose. The areas are just far enough apart to let you explore and look for the next place. Combine this with the well-executed controls, the waddle of your character, and the honk button. You feel like a goose looking for the next place to cause trouble. And it's not just the exploring itself, it's what you can do and where you end up during the exploration. Go through a garage, swim in a creek. Oh, can I get behind that gate? You're looking for a way to cause trouble while you're walking about. A very minor but incredibly effective thing the game does is that it enhances the feeling of suspense about what you could find in the way it uses the camera. It does not show a lot of the area around you, and you have to specifically zoom out if you want to see more of the surroundings. Now, I feel this is a good time to point something out that will become somewhat relevant later. The premise and gameplay of Untitled Goose Game is entirely dependent on a pre-established societal belief that geese are assholes. But why do we think like this about geese? For this, I will mainly be referencing an article of The Outline called How Geese Became the Assholes of the Sky, written by Gray Chapman. She does a great job summarizing and explaining the stereotype about geese in a comprehensive way. The stereotype that seems to originate from the US. But we'll come back to that. Firstly, geese are aggressive animals. They're incredibly territorial and tend to run at us instead of away from us if we disturb their peace. They're also much larger than the birds we see on a daily basis. And they always have a good hiss ready to intimidate. The thing is, we didn't think about geese like this before. After nearly hunting geese to extinction, the US had a lot of conservation efforts before passing the Migratory Birds Treaty Act in 1918. This was followed by releasing more flocks of birds and projects like Operation Mother Goose. And these flocks bred. Suddenly, there were a lot of geese. These so-called resident geese either didn't migrate or migrated very short distances, and to make matters worse, they really like human-made spaces. A goose doesn't see the separation humans try to have between human spaces and nature. They like the golf course, and they're staying, damn it. Knowing that geese like to be in areas for humans, and humans dislike having geese in their areas, it makes sense why it feels so nice to waddle through the streets of this town. Even though you're not interacting with NPCs and ruining their day, you know they don't want you there. You're already causing mischief by simply walking around. And isn't that the most goose thing to do?